why do we want to do UX in the first place and how good it is when it comes to paying our bills. So they have three really important playlists that you have to finish. You don't have to buy any courses, you don't have to buy any books. A few examples of how to frame the right questions. When you study outside of India, you travel, you meet new people, you're not only paying for the knowledge or for the UX design, but you're also paying for the experiences you have. You can't
Yep,
build friendships on YouTube. So essentially, that is what you're paying for, that community.
exactly. Like community is what we are even trying to develop here at Dogo Nation. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Today, we are going to be talking about UX design. And this is a live session that we are taking right now at Doco Nation. We are a student community and we help out students almost in every single domain. And for this particular event, we have a very special guest with us today. So, our guest is Mr. Ansh Mehra. He is currently designing a virtual events platform, event hosting platform called Zuddle. If you don't know about it, go check it out. It's some amazing work that they're doing there, and it's backed by Y Combinator. They started it in June 2020 and have raised over $2 million in their seed round of funding. And now they're working towards their Series A. That's just crazy. And being a student of engineering, he represented his college as at a lot of different hackathons around the world. Okay, like Hack MIT. I'm sure all of you know about Hack MIT and also Hack Harvard in 2018. So all of these different achievements our special guest here today has achieved, and also out of all the hundreds of teams, okay, from 17 different countries in Microsoft Imagine Cup Asia Regional, okay, their team was one of the top 12 finalists. And he also has his own podcast. So all of your, podcast fans here, do check it out. It's called Take It Easy, and it has over 40,000 streams on Spotify. And before Zuddle came up, okay, he was a design intern, UX design intern at Swiggy. Okay, so that's all about our host. So let's just welcome him here. Ansh Mehra, can you please come online and greet our participants today?
Hey, am I audible?
Yep, you are.
Awesome, awesome. So, what's up, everyone? Super excited to be here. I am using this setup for the first time, so I hope everything is super clear, super crisp. We have a bunch of things lined up. I think I wouldn't waste too much time doing an intro. So, let's just get right into it. I will be sharing my screen. Awesome. And just to keep things more interesting, I will simply keep my video here and I'll start recording. Trihan, I'm completely audible, completely clear, right?
Yep, everything is super perfect.
Awesome, awesome. Cool. So the title of this session is Getting Started in the Field of UX Design, and not just talk about it, but actually list out a bunch of practical ways which are easy to implement, where you don't just talk about the skill, but you also talk about the financial aspects as well as the emotional aspect. Because when someone gives you an advice, it's not just about following the advice, it's also about what goes on in your head while you're pursuing this entire thing. So before we even get into the details of how UX works, let's just try to understand, why do we want to do UX in the first place? And would it help us in our life in the longer run? And how good it is when it comes to paying our bills? Because when we talk about design, most of the society feels that designing is just about making things look pretty, which is sort of weird, but it's also understandable because UX design just came into the picture. So we have to understand, what are the expectations that we have when we enter this field? What kind of financial requirements do you have? Because each of us are coming from our own respective backgrounds with our own financial backgrounds, and there are some expectations that our parents have when we touch the threshold of 18. It could be a specific amount of money, it could be working in a specific company, so societal pressures, all kinds of things that we all face from a day-to-day basis. And after we have understood what we want, you should have a list of resources to follow and a proper timeline to execute that information. Because if you learn things from an incorrect person, or if you learn things from a wrong resource, you would waste a lot of time and eventually learn things that are actually not really important. And then in the end, remind yourself to look at the bigger picture. I don't think just being a designer is anyone's goal. I think the goal is to be a great problem solver, to be associated with companies or startups or ideas where you have a lot to say, you have a good amount of stake or equity, where you're not just working for the salary, but you're also working for your profile, for your outreach, for your networking. Or if you're working in a startup where you've just joined in, maybe you've contributed in a way where you have a good amount of equity working for you. So it's not just that you're selling your time, but you're also looking at the bigger picture and not just restraining yourself to the core skill. Now, how do you begin this journey? Because there are so many different ways. Of course, when it comes to the software, everyone knows that the software you use is called Figma. It's an absolutely free software. It runs on cloud. You don't need a very fancy computer for it. You don't even have to pay for it. And Figma on their YouTube channel have basically uploaded every single important information that you need to know. So they have 3 really important playlists that you have to finish. If you're opening Figma for the first time, then you have to finish the Getting Started playlist. The second playlist is the New Features playlist. And then once you finish these two, you have to watch the Office Hours playlist, which is absolutely immensely valuable. Once you've understood how Figma works, then you have to dig deep into the subject of user experience. Now, I wouldn't go too deep into the entire aspect because the subject is too broad. In fact, the definition keeps on changing every 6 to 7 months. But you can definitely follow 2 people that I regularly follow. The first one is Saptarshi Prakash, who was obviously my mentor at Swiggy. He's the senior design manager, product design manager at Swiggy at this moment. He has a terrific playlist of YouTube videos. Apart from that, you can also check out Abhinav's channel. His channel is called Abnux. He was the design head of Unacademy, which we all know is pretty successful at this point. But he runs this community called 10K Designers. You can check that out as well. But he also uploads a lot of live streams, and there's a lot of cool stuff that he mentioned in those live streams. You have to be really patient because they are long, but they are worth the time. So maybe you can watch one single live stream, maybe once in a while, but these things really help you a lot. And not just about design, I think every single creative person needs to understand some basic foundational skills like communication, pitching, selling, positioning, documentation. How do you negotiate your price? What do you do when the client is refusing to pay you? What do you do when the client is pulling down your price? So you can learn these things from a terrific genius. His name is Christo. There's a YouTube channel called The Future, so you should definitely check that out. And then not just focusing on your skills, I would strongly recommend everyone to just learn about their mind, how you think, how you function, and probably invest more in your body and mind more than you invest in anything else, because all these technical skills, they'll come and go. But your mind and your body, these two things always stay with you. So if you know how to think in situations that are really difficult, if you know how to think when you're losing faith, if you know how to behave confidently, and if you have a good physical healthy body, you would be there in the long run, right? And not just in design, in any career, it's mostly about who stays in the game for the longer run. Because when you stay in a game for a very long amount of time, the chances of you succeeding are increased. So if you're in the field for 50 years, you have a better shot than compared to a person who's in the field for just 25 years, right? It's the effect of compounding that takes place. Now, how much time does it take? Of course, this is a very subjective question, but let's just define the word time here. Basically, we all measure time in terms of hours. So when I say 1 hour, that 1 hour means that you have focused energy without any distraction, and you spend that 1 hour on different things. It's not like you do the similar stuff again and again for a week, but every single hour is about reading something new, learning something new, experiment something new, or doing something hands-on. I think if you spend 500 hours doing whatever that I've just mentioned in the previous slide, and if you do some hands-on work, maybe through freelance gig, maybe through internships, after 500 hours, you would reach level 1. But it's only after 1000 hours that you would reach level 2. People say that you'd have to spend a month, you'd have to spend a year, but that's really subjective, right? Because how many hours in a day? How many hours in that year? It's the hours that you spend in and not the days and not the years. So I think at level 2, when you've spent 1000 hours exploring UX, you can very, very easily earn 45,000 to 50,000 rupees a month. And of course, these are very subjective figures. I think in most cases it would be around these figures. But of course, it varies from person to person. But after 1500 hours, if you've spent 1500 hours in UX in the current state, specifically in India, if you are working in a startup or if you're working in a good company, you will easily get paid above 70,000 bucks without any doubt, because the market is supremely, the market is desiring for UX designers. It's not just me, I'm not lying about this. If you go on Google, if you ask other UX designers who are working at these companies, they would tell you the truth. But how do you start earning, right? uh, let's just assume that we've picked the level 3 or level 2 target where you want to make, say, 70K a month, which is a decent amount of money considering that you don't have to fulfill your household expenses. If you're living in Delhi, if you want to take care of your household and your family and everything, then you need probably double than this amount. But if your parents are paying their own bills and if you're the only one in the entire family and you just have to take care of yourself, investing and your expenses would take around 70K a month. This is post college, right? So for that, you can target a 500-day schedule. Again, sounds too difficult, but let's just keep things very ideal, right? Even if you spend 3 hours every single day, you can reach that target easily. And one single thing that a lot of people forget is that you can target international clients as well. So rather than earning in rupee, you can earn in dollars, right? And the US market loves people who can actually work at lower rates, because the cost of getting a proper wireframe or a proper prototype from an international designer is at a very high premium. So they look to countries like India to get young designers, and it gives you a lot of exposure. You make in dollars, you make in pounds. Of course, there are some specific applications through which you can receive their payments. So you'd have to Google as to what works for you. So there are many ways. I think there is Stripe, then there is PayPal. Of course, there are some clients who have Indian bank accounts because they are Indian residents, but they stay in the US. So essentially, they are working in US, but they also have Indian companies, so they can send you the payment through their Indian bank accounts. But whatever that you do, you have to make sure that everything is legal, everything is happening within regulations, and you're not just believing anyone because you're there on their email threads, because people can say something and not pay you in the longer run. Uh, 1 second. Yes. So super important. How do you get work, right? Because now that you've started learning, how do you reach out to people? I think in my case, the only thing that really helped me was word of mouth. And word of mouth happens through Instagram, Dribbble, Medium, Behance, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, all these different social medias. Every single social media is a platform for you to show off your work, because it's almost like a seed of opportunity, right? You keep planting seeds on all these different social medias and you never know which one grows up to be a tree. Now, throughout this journey, when you're entering UX, of course, you would have all these YouTube tutorials and all these sources. You don't really need me for doing that. In fact, every time you ask a question, you should ask yourself that, is this answer available on Google? This is a practice, this is a check that I do. I don't ask questions that can be answered by Google. So never ask anyone, how do I learn Figma? How do I install Figma? Or how do I learn prototyping? Google can answer these questions for you. So when you are interacting with a human being, you should ask questions that are absolutely unavailable on the internet, right? And most of us have been asking the wrong questions, and this is the irony. Now that I've given you the responsibility to ask your own questions, you'd realize that, dude, I ask really bad questions, and that is because we do not know what we do not know. Now, after maybe 2 or 3 years of being in this field, which is very short amount of time, right? 2 or 3 years is nothing. It is only after 2 to 3 years that I've realized the importance of communication, right? NLP, right? Linguistic programming. How do you frame your words, your documentation, your personality, your confidence, your negotiations, right? Contract details. How do you sign contracts, ESOPs, equity, so many things, right? And these questions that are specific to your life are often not available on the internet, right? On Google, you can find concrete answers that are same for everyone. But when it comes to career advice, you need someone to look at your case study, because every solution is catered for an individual. You've led an interesting life with a certain amount of experiences, and there's a specific way in which you have to function, right? Google cannot tell you, because Google does not know you personally. Google is going to assume that all these UX designers are from the same financial background, they were born in the same circumstances, and this one single advice will help all of them. But the reality is that all these people who give you this manuscript, or they give you the script to follow, those scripts and those plans and those schedules are basically expired lottery tickets. They would not work for you. You have to build your own way. All you can do is gather as much information as you can from intelligent people, from ethical people, and then figure out on the basis of your own priorities, on your own difficulties, or your own situation as to what is the way moving forward. But again, nobody will make an effort to correct you because they are too busy fixing their own life. So at this point, you have to leverage technology and you have to leverage internet. YouTube at this point, just YouTube, Medium, and Quora, these three websites have enough of knowledge available for free. You don't have to buy any courses, you don't have to buy any books. If you can afford a premium Medium subscription, that would actually help you a very, very long way. I don't think you need anything for those 1500 hours. I don't think you have to pay anyone for those 1500 hours. The channels that I've mentioned, those channels are more than enough for your work. And of course, as I said earlier, you have to look at the bigger picture, right? Because if you're too caught up in your work files, in your Figma files, you'd realize that people who are thinking big are taking really massive steps, right? And if you want to leave a legacy, right, you have to see things from a bigger picture. You have to understand that this is my role in this specific company. What is this company doing in this sector? What is this sector doing in this industry? How is this industry being affected in this specific country? How can I reach more countries, right? How can I reach more devices? How can I leverage this opportunity for hundreds and hundreds of different things, right? Because we are super young, right? We're super young, we're super energetic, we don't have any liabilities, we're not married, we don't have children. We can basically use our time to do some really, really interesting stuff just by sitting at home. Literally, this is literally since the Big Bang, this is the best time to be alive on this planet. And I'm not exaggerating, not trying to be spiritual. But ever since the first atom came to life, this is the best moment to be a student. So, a few examples of how to frame the right questions. A lot of people say, how do I learn UX design? Don't do that, it's too vague. When you ask someone a question, you have to make it easier for them to answer your question. So you should ask something like, can you recommend me 3 most valuable resources that help you learn Figma? Or 3 top resources for After Effects, Premiere Pro, prototyping, Principle, Frame, or whatsoever that you're trying to learn. Because when you say, hey Ansh, can you recommend me 3 most valuable resources? You close the possibilities for that person. Now you've given that person some direction, like a flashlight, where the person is like, oh, okay, this question is quite specific. I can try answering this in bullet points. And you need bullet points when it comes to answers. You don't want a vague advice, some vague wisdom that I can apply. Maybe it applies, maybe it don't applies. You need actionable bullet points, but you will get those kinds of answers only when your questions are extremely specific. A lot of people say, how do I earn more? In fact, it's not just about earning more, it's about how do I pitch a higher price? Because if you ask, 7 lakh rupees for a branding project, the opposite person is obviously going to say no if you don't pitch it well, right? Everyone knows how to ask for a higher price, but very few people know how to pitch that price. So the problem is you're not earning more because you don't know how to present yourself. You don't know how to brand yourself. You don't know how to package your contents, how to communicate your value. So that is what we have to learn. And it's not like I am the richest designer in the world or I am the most successful designer in the world. I am in this journey just like you. The thing is that I know that because I'm documenting everything that I'm going through in this entire journey, I wanted to share it with people till the time it's relevant, because after 5 years, things would completely change. The speed at which design is growing actually shows all of us that all of these softwares, all of these tools and concepts are going to change. So I thought that if I'm learning all these things, let's just quickly spread it to all these people so that, the entire design community can grow together. And if you guys grow together, maybe 10 years from now, we might work on a project together. So, all these things, they come back. The more you share, it just revolves and it comes back to you. So is it too late? Is it too late for me to begin? Very common question, dude. It's never about being late. It's all about time management, right? Because when you feel that, oh, is it too late? It's probably because you think that you are running out of time. You have a lot of time. You just don't know where you're spending it. You get unlimited energy every single day, but people don't value it because it's free. But the reality is that most things that came to us for free are the most valuable things ever. Our mind, our body, our family, our friendships. You can't buy these things. I can snatch away your career, I can burn down your house, I can take away all your gadgets, and you can work and get them again and again. But when it comes to your time and energy, no one is discussing these topics, and these are the most valuable topics. And I've got into like really, really high level of detail in my podcast. And now that I've started my YouTube channel, I discuss the same topics on my YouTube channel. This slide is basically, I've taken this slide from one of those sessions. So you can check out my YouTube videos as well, not trying to promote myself, but yeah. And then in the end, how do I stand apart? No one gives me work, no one is hiring me, no one is replying to my DMs, my emails. Dude, they will never reply to you. You have to look extremely, extremely important, and you have to look extremely, extremely smart, and only then you'll attract people to you. Why would anyone hire you? People will not pay you even a single penny if they don't think that they can make 10 rupees out of every 1 rupee they pay you. That's how the entire economy is working, right? If you get a salary for 10 bucks, it's probably because that person is making 100 bucks from what you're giving to him. Because when you're working, and I'm talking about jobs where you don't get any ESOPs, where you don't get any equity, like pure capital based jobs, you're essentially giving your brain as rent. So you know how FDs work, right? Like आजकल के टाइम पे you give पैसा at 7% ब्याज, तो आपको जो ब्याज मिलता है, that's basically not the actual value. It's, you've given money on rent and उसका ब्याज आ रहा है 7%. So your salary is 7% of your actual net worth. Your salary is basically the ब्याज you get because you're putting your brain and energy and you're giving it to someone on rent for a temporary basis. So you have to build a brand, you have to build that perception around you. And of course, it's a very, very detailed subject and there's a lot to learn there, right? There are so many videos, but yes, this is something to consider. And of course, you cannot have everything all at once. And this is a very, very important concept. It's almost like people want everything in that one single year. Like I want tuck, all these 10 things in 1 year. Doesn't happen like that, dude. You can have everything you want, right? But it's the order in which you pursue them. You can have a world tour, you can have your Ferrari, you can have a big house, you can have a YouTube channel, but you can't expect everything to come at once because you have limited energy every single day and you have to channelize that energy in a specific manner. So you have to build a system for these big goals. I am not a promoter of that quote where people say, think achievable goals, set possible targets. I don't believe in that. I think you should think about really, really big goals, but you can't think about all those goals coming to life in that one single instant. There's an order in which things will happen. So you should definitely read the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. It's freely available. In fact, if you want, you can get the hard copy as well. This is how the hard copy looks like. It's a terrific book. I would recommend every single student to read this. It has really helped me as well. And apart from this, if you go to YouTube and search for Ansh Mehra, you would find my Foundations for UX Design series, where I dig really, really deep into a lot of nuances, a lot of technical things. And I also write on Medium. So on Medium, you would get really, really in-depth articles on Figma and the use of Figma. And on YouTube, you would see episodes that talk about branding and perception and emotions and financial advice, all kinds of things, right? So yes, my name is Ansh Mehra. You can follow me on Instagram at anshmehra.png. On Twitter, again, Ansh Mehra. On Clubhouse, I'm not there on Clubhouse anymore. I don't come there very often. But if you like this session, do post a story, because it's only because of you people that I can reach out to more people, because I'm just entering the entire YouTube game. So I thought, I'll start outreach and everything. And yes, that'll be the end of my session, and we can now take questions. So if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat and let's start discussing.
Okay, so I've got a question from Shashank, which is, what is the use of coaching in UI UX design?
Oh, I think he means coding.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I read that coaching. Yeah, it's coding. Yeah, okay.
I think there's not a very big role, to be honest. I feel that coding helps you if you are into the entire full stack game. But what you can do is you can actually go through a bunch of documents, just understand the basics of HTML and CSS, and that would give you enough insight as to how code works. So just do like a small course, but I don't think you need to be a coder to be a UX designer at all. I have never touched even a single line of code ever since I entered this entire thing. Even though I've studied CSS and HTML, and I did a little bit of Swift, which is for iOS development, I did a little bit of Android, but I never really got the hang of it. So I don't think you need any kind of coding. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that answers both Vishal and Shashank, because he also asked a similar question like HTML and CSS, how does it help? So Naval has a solution for everything. Yep. Would love it if you could show how you document things on Notion. Okay.
Oh, yes, actually, I can't show you the Notion document right now because when I open it, there'll be a bunch of stuff regarding Zardal and regarding my work. But what I do is I have 4 different pages. One page is for learning. Inside learning, I would have different drafts. And then there's a life page where I document my goals, my ambitions, my targets, and I read that document on a daily basis because every day I'm working. When you work super hard, you eventually forget what am I even working for. So that is there. But what I do is I take screenshots of everything that I learn when I'm working on Zardal. If I come across a really interesting problem, I would take a screenshot and paste it on Notion. But I'm going to do a proper detailed video on the entire documentation aspect because yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do, but I would recommend everyone to check out Ali Abdal's videos on Notion. He is, of course, a Notion pro, so you can learn a lot from him.
Exactly, and I'll leave the links to Ansh's socials in the chat box. Okay, so all of his socials, whether it's YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, you can find him here. So I'm just gonna drop it here in the chat box. Okay, so let's see. Then we have. Okay, should I keep learning UI design as I'm an absolute beginner, or get started in UX also?
I think there are different ways to pursue this. I think you should make an order of all the resources that you're following. So let's figure out the basics, right? You've finished all Figma playlists, you've finished Sapta's videos, you've finished Abhinav's videos, and then you finished the 100-day UI challenge. So basically the 100-day UI challenge is that you trace user interfaces for mobile or web for the next 100 days. So that would hone your UI skills. And I think for UX, you just have to be really observant, right? So whenever you're using an application, maybe you're using Zoom or WhatsApp or Instagram, just be really careful about why are they doing things in a specific way, and get some clients. I think get some freelance clients, because reading wouldn't really help you become a really good UX designer. It's only in hands-on work where you're solving problems and you're actually with the developers in the trenches, figuring out how things work. That is really, really important. But you need to have a list, because if you don't have a list, you won't be able to keep a track. So it's always better to see that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Otherwise, you'll just be demotivated, thinking, "Oh, dude, I'm working so much, and I feel that there's no progress."
Yep, that's correct. I actually feel the same about this, and especially with confusion between choosing two things out of one. It's something that just bugs you for a long time. But again, with that list in hand, you'll be easily able to do it. So we have another question from Anurag, which is, just started learning UI UX. Though I worked as a freelancing designer before, but still confused how to figure out case study and documentation. Any resources to learn making case study?
Dude, there is no resource for learning how to write a case study. The only thing is to read a lot of case studies and reverse engineer as to what makes them look so good. So read hundreds of case studies and eventually you'll understand what is making them so successful. There's no manual for that.
Okay. Okay, Manas has asked how to know that we are ready to do freelancing or maybe apply for a job. What's that indicator?
I think if you're getting rejections from freelance, that means that you are not good enough. That's a very subjective question, right? How do we know if we are ready to freelance? If people are ready to pay you, then you're ready for freelance. And how do I know if I'm ready for a job? If people are offering you a job, then it means that you're ready for a job. If people are not offering you any jobs, then it means you're not ready for it.
Yeah. Do you recommend pursuing UI UX outside of India or maybe in India?
I don't know how it works outside India. I pursued within India because I didn't have, like, you need a lot of money to actually study UX from an international college. I didn't have that kind of free capital in my hands, so I decided to study everything on my own in India. And I feel like, yeah, it's pretty good. But of course, if you have a lot of, if your parents have saved that amount of money, and if you are really interested in UX, like you've decided that this is what I have to do, then you should definitely invest in a degree. Because when you study outside of India, you travel, you meet new people, you're not only paying for the knowledge or for the UX design, but you're also paying for the experiences you have. When you get outside your house, you break your bubble, right? Otherwise, if you stay inside your house, you're in this bubble, your exposure is limited, the kind of people you talk to or hang out with, it's similar. So breaking that monotony is really, really important. But of course, there's a huge price tag to break that bubble. So if you can afford it easily without putting too much pressure on your parents, go for it. Otherwise, there is so many resources available for free on the internet, dude. Like, I don't think anything is stopping us now.
Yep. Okay. So Prerna has asked that in the industry, everything is growing. Like this is something that a lot of students face. So in the industry, everything is just growing at a very faster rate right now, and the learning is slow, which is frightening basically. So is it okay if someone is learning slowly because they're scared by that time they're an expert, they might be outdated?
See, it all comes down to who are you learning from. It comes down to your energy and your time management. If you feel that I take too much time to learn something, is it you or is it the source that you're learning from? Because we are pretty intelligent people, right? We are able to use the internet. And UX design is not something that requires a lot of deep thinking. It's very conceptual and it's all about clicking that idea, fine tuning your brain. But you shouldn't expect yourself to become good before 3 or 4 years, right? You can't expect to become a really good professional before 3 or 4 years of experience. I don't consider myself a good professional, right? Because I'm still in this journey. So there are two ways to look at this. One is, would I be able to pay my bills in a year? Of course. That's super easy, right? If you spend 1,000 hours or 1,500 hours within a year, you can pay your bills. The second question is, how do I become an expert quickly? You don't have to become an expert quickly. Like, things take time. Like, that's how nature works. You can't really accelerate something. There are laws in this nature that prevent you to accelerate beyond a specific rate. So take your time, dude. What's the rush? Spend years and just become really good at it.
Exactly. Like this is something that I am much more of a developer myself. So the thing that the courses and all that are out there right now, the kind of stage that they have said that you need around like 2-3 months to learn this, then 5 months for this and all, is just not, that doesn't make sense right now, because you just need a great resource on YouTube and that's enough for you to get started with it. And all you need is just make more and more of projects and try to copy just like you said, like copy interfaces, and that makes you perfect in what you're doing.
Yeah.
So the next one is from yes, Ishika is asking, how much does a design degree adds up? Is it really necessary?
No clue, can't really say because I never had a design degree. But I know a lot of friends who have a degree from a design college, from international design colleges, and they're working at great companies. I also know people who have no design degrees and even they are doing terrifically well. So I think it all comes down to the capital, right? In most cases, what would stop you from pursuing a degree in a really fancy college? It mostly comes down to the money, right? Because you have ample amount of time. It's not like your parents are forcing you that you have only this amount of time in this life to study and all these things and you have to go. No one is forcing you for all these things. That eventually comes down to the money part. So if you can afford it, definitely go for it. But if you're doubtful about it, and when I say doubtful, I see a lot of people taking humongous loans, right?
Yep.
So they would take a huge loan for 2 CR thinking that I'll get enough returns to pay back the entire principal with the interest. It doesn't happen that way because the living expense is too much in that country, right? And if you're studying outside and then if you're spending in dollars and then earning in rupees, then the gap even increases, right? So if you have that kind of money, do a crash course, right? If you don't want to invest for a 2-year degree or a 1-year degree, do a crash course. Go to US, go to any good place right? The world is there after the entire virus thing is over.
Yeah.
Just do a crash course, do a 6-month course. But yeah, nothing should stop you if you have the capital for it.
Okay, so Abhijit is asking about the link to your case studies. So I suppose they're on Medium, right?
I have never written. I have written some case studies,
Okay.
but they're not good enough. I don't think my case studies are really good. But you can read my articles on Medium. They're based on design. So just go on Medium and search for.
I've added the links in the chat, so they can get it from there.
Yeah.
How to get an internship at Swiggy? AK is asking.
Super simple. That's super simple, dude. I was mentoring at 10K designers, and I met this student. Her name is Akshata. She just got into Swiggy. You should ask her actually. Akshata, her name is Akshata. Just look at her profile from Swiggy Design Instagram channel. Dude, I'm telling you, it's not just Swiggy. Don't focus on how do I get an internship. It's about how do I become really, really good at my craft. That is the only thing that you have to do. The only thing that you have to be is become a desirable designer, right? You have to be really, really tempting at what you're doing. Like, you should make work that is so exciting that people should look at your profile and say, oh, we want this guy on board with us, right? And if you have that, then you don't have to be worried about anything.
That's like that's something that everyone should properly follow, because again, people get into this whole thing about getting an internship or maybe going at some place like in a startup or somewhere. But yeah, that totally makes sense. And Spursh is asking actually that what to do. Like the whole question is that what to do about creativity blocks.
Oh yeah, I think you really need to go easy on yourself. If you want to take a break, just take a break and explore different fields. So I never do one thing alone. I always have 4 or 5 things running in parallel. So I always read 2 books in parallel. I always watch 2 TV shows in parallel, or I would listen to a bunch of music, experiment new things, experiment new YouTube channels, have more variety in my life. Because if you're a filmmaker, take inspiration from music. If you're a musician, take inspiration from architecture. If you're an interior designer, then take inspiration from magazines and brochures. So change the field from where you take your inspiration, rather than limiting yourself in the field that you usually operate in. And focus a lot on your nutrition. This is one aspect that a lot of people just don't focus on it, right? So for example, let me show you something. Right next to my bed, I have like a bunch of dry fruits, right? I used to have Lay's and Pringles next to my bed when I was in college, which was really horrible. I think nutrition and exercise are 2 things that would play a huge role in how well you do in your life. A lot of people talk about courses and plugins, but that's all nonsense. I think you should spend a good amount of money eating well. If you have more capital from your freelance gig, get a personal trainer, get a nutritionist, do all these things, and you would soon realize that your feelings will improve. When you eat proper food, the way you feel about yourself, the way you feel about the world will improve. When you do physical exercise, when you wake up in the morning, you will feel good, right? And it's all about feeling good, because your work is essentially a reflection of how you feel. If you feel horrible, then your work would reflect that. So I think the best way to have a good creative process is to first take care of your body and your nutrition and your mind and your energy levels. Stay away from negativity and get inspiration from different fields, not just from your field, but everything that you see. Get inspiration from everything else.
I really need that, so, because even my parents are always behind me that okay, you should take care of your health more often, because I kind of get into it whenever I have to code or do anything like that. With building this community and everything, it takes a lot of time. So even I have to do that, and that creativity block, or maybe just normally thinking about an idea, it just takes a lot of time. And we actually need to take time for ourselves and just normally just enjoy something that's happening.
Yeah.
So, okay, so one last question before we, just end the session for today. It's already 7:46. So would you recommend joining a cohort or bootcamp or doing a course?
It's a good experience. I have only had an experience at 10K. So I think that 10K is really, really good. It's a good experience, but you should first try learning things on your own. And then when you hit a barrier, right, when you feel really overwhelmed and you're like, no, dude, I can't even figure out what's happening, then you can consider joining 10K. Even Sapta has his own course. It's Growth Schoolio, and
Yeah,
he
growth
is
cool.
on the weekends. So he's doing a great job from whatever that I've heard. He's doing amazing. Then there's Karan Kapoor, brilliant guy. He's the Figma community advocate for New Delhi. So you can check out Karan Kapoor's courses and live sessions as well. So you don't have to buy like a really big course, right? Yes, King Siddharth is also there. Design Pilot is there. But yeah, I think Karan Kapoor, Sapta, and Abhinav, these three people are sharing some really, really deep content. I am coming up with my course, but I upload videos very slowly because there's a lot of input that goes into my videos. So I take slightly more amount of time. But yeah, I think before buying anything, explore the internet, exhaust all the free resources first, and then jump to the cohort, because the cohort is not just about knowledge. I think 10K is more about community, where you can meet more people, extend your network, get connections, because you can't get connections on YouTube. You can't build relationships on YouTube. You can't
Yeah,
build friendships on YouTube. So essentially, that is what you're paying for, that community.
exactly. Like community is what we are even trying to develop here at Dogo Nation. So that's something that even I would agree with. And especially like right now, in this during this pandemic, especially and before also, like nowadays everything is available for free.
Yeah.
Almost everything is available for free. The only thing is that you know that it's available, but still you don't have the motivation for it. And maybe it's lack of motivation, or maybe it's consistency. Whether it's you want to code, you want to design, you want to learn marketing, whatever it is, almost everything is for free. But I think that motivation, that money creates motivation sometimes, that because something is
it's
at
also
stake.
physical factors. See, when you talk about motivation, it's all about you feel like doing something.
Yeah.
Like you should feel like doing something. It's often there are two kinds of demotivation. One is that your brain is not allowing you to think about something. That's probably because of some trauma, some personal circumstance, something that's bothering you. In a lot of cases, it's your physical body that's at fault, because you're sitting all day, not taking care of yourself, not having a routine. So your body is not agreeing to work for you. So you have to be friends with your brain and your body, and then think about all this design and all this motivation and everything.
Okay, so I think that was the last question. Thank you so much, Ansh, for joining us for this session. It has been immensely, informative, and the question answer session was just amazing. So thank you so much again for joining in today.
Thank you so much, guys.
All the participants, thank you so much again for joining in. And if you like this session, we'll be also posting the video on YouTube later on. So if you kind of missed somewhere in the between, you can go and watch it. And also, if you like the session, make sure that you take a screenshot or maybe take a picture and share it on your Instagram stories and tag Ansh as well as Doco Nation. And I have just given the links to both of the accounts in the chat box. I'll just drop Ansh's as well. So Ansh has two accounts. One is, I guess it's like both are public only, but yeah, one is like kind of his personal space where he is sharing whatever he's building, and one is the professional design account. So you can tag both of them. And thank you so much everyone for joining in. And if you like the session, make sure that you also become a part of the community that we are having. So we just work towards providing all of these free resources and basically provide that gap what we are talking about, lack of motivation and consistency. So we have various clubs inside the community where we constantly check up on the students that are there. Okay, so it's not like we are teaching live or we are telling something. We're not experts about anything here. But again, we have the resources, you have the resources. Here you can get together with a few friends, you can make new friends and just code every day or design every day. You can take up the 100 days UI challenge together with some bunch or a new people, strangers in the community, and make it happen. So that's what we are doing here at the community. So if you like it, then you can join our community on Discord. It's Doco Nation. I'll just leave the link here. And once again, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ansh, again for this whole session. And thank you, everyone. We'll see you guys in the next one.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.